Good morning. Welcome to the Better Business Workshop. Today, we're looking at, or asking the question, should successful business owners be generalists or specialists? You know, our whole system is geared up pre-business ownership to be specialists. But perhaps when you become a business owner, you need some more skills. So I'm here to discuss that question today with my colleague, Gareth Hughes. Gareth, good morning. How are you? Specialist or generalist?
Hey, Mark. Yeah, it's an interesting question, isn't it? And I think this is what a lot of business owners miss when they go into business. Is, you know, why does a florist become a florist, right? Because they want to work with flowers, not because they want to be in business. You know, same with any business. You know, why does a printer become a printer? Well, because they're good at printing, right? And nobody mentions that actually once you get into business, there's a couple of other things you need to know.
Yeah, quite. Well, let's have a look at the next slide and see what it says. So look, Michael Gerber talks about this a lot actually in his book E-Myth, doesn't he? And he says, most people, if you think about our whole system and how it's kind of geared up, when we go to school, we're taught to become good at something. We go to degree and we go to university, we go to specialize in something, we're told get a skill, get a trade, get an apprenticeship, focus on something, and that'll see you right. Yeah. Most hairdressers become hairdressers. They're really good at cutting hair. And most plumbers are the same. Electricians are the same. They've got skills and they specialize on one thing, like Gareth.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're at school and talking, let's take it right from the beginning. So you're at primary school, you get a lot of different subjects. Okay. Then you go to high school, you carry on with that, but then you're asked to choose your subjects, right? And you're already starting to narrow down your field, right? And then you pass your GCSEs, and then you go to college, and you narrow down even more to like 2 or 3 specialist subjects, right? And then they take those 2 or 3 specialist subjects, go to university, and just do one, right? You do one subject really in depth, and then let's say you carry on in the education, you do a master's degree, right? And then that's you take a few areas of that one subject and really drill down into them, right? And then maybe you do a PhD and you take one area of that one specialist subject and you go deep. And all the time, I feel like you're in a funnel. I feel like you're just massively in a funnel, gearing towards one end point of being a really narrow specialist in one area. And then go on.
No, I was going to say, and then at the end of that, you get a job, right? And then you're pigeonholed because that's a job and that's what you're going to do for the next 40 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And say you go into accounting, for example, and it's like, well, we won't give that guy any admin because he's an accountant, or we won't give that lawyer any admin because they're lawyering and stuff like that. Or we won't give that to that teacher because they're teaching, right? So people actively keep stuff away from you and stop you broadening, I think. And it's all geared around, okay, can you do this one thing really, really well? And that's for a lot of people, that's okay. But if you're in business, all of a sudden you've got a multitude of different things that you have to know about, and you're expected to automatically know about them as well. Nobody gets taught sales at school, right? Nobody gets taught marketing at school. Nobody gets taught finance at school. And these are all the foundations of being in business, right?
So there's a bit in there, Gareth, so most people, as Michael Gerber says in his book, in E-Myth, most people start a business because they're really good at what they do and they enjoy what they're doing. And actually, very often, they're doing it in a job and they think that they can do it better than their boss. So they'll say, well, I'm going to go and do this. I'm going to go and do this on my own. Great, brilliant. So they go and start a business and then they get some clients, which is great. And then they get busy. And then as they get busy, they suddenly discover, as it says on the next slide, that they've got to have a whole load more skills, which is the point you're making, right, Gareth? They've suddenly got to learn, or they've got to realize not only have they got to do all the stuff that they do, which was their passion, they've also got to do the sales and the marketing and the finance and the legal, and then they employ some people because they're getting completely overwhelmed. and then they've got to get good at HR and all the other stuff, and then they've got to get at leadership, right? And it kind of ties back to that entrepreneurial ladder that we were talking about yesterday as well.
Yeah, and then you get to the point, because people have been drilled into them that they have to be a specialist, or either consciously or subconsciously, it's been drilled into people that they have to be a specialist all their life, right? Then they go, okay, well, now I need to be a specialist in sales. Now I need to be a specialist in marketing. Now I need to be a specialist in finance. And they go too deep on those subjects for most business owners. We've been talking about it this week with clients, Mark, and I think we've mentioned it at least a few times already this week. Is does a business owner need to be an expert in marketing? Yeah, absolutely not. They need to know a little bit about it, right? In fact, they need to know enough to be asking the right questions. And asking the right questions is half the battle, right? I think we did that last week, right? Asking the right questions is half the battle. So you don't need to know everything there is to know about sales, about marketing, about finance, about operations. But you need to at least know enough to ask the right question. And that's really key. A lot of people will do this. And this is a conversation I have often with clients, especially new clients. So hey, Mr. Client, what are we going to do about your marketing? So, well, I think I'm going to outsource it. Yeah, I think using outsourcing marketing is a great idea. It's like, what questions are you going to ask the marketing agency? Well, I don't know. That's their problem, right? And like, no, it's not. It is their problem, but it's also your problem, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be able to drill down, understand the data that marketing agency comes back with, and challenge and support and ask the right question at the right time, right? Otherwise, you're just throwing money down the panel.
Totally. You've got to understand to ask the right question, right? Which is actually on the next slide, exactly what we teach, right? So we teach all of our clients. Our aim is to teach all of our clients all of the generalized principles around business, right? All the important questions that they need to know and ask and understand. They don't have to be an expert in anything, but they have to be a generalist in everything. And that's what we teach clients to do, right, Gareth?
It's definitely about knowing enough, a little about a lot, right? And if you know a little about a lot, you can cut to the heart of the issue. There's a lot of business owners out there who go, oh, well, I've outsourced HR, so it's not my problem, right? Or I've outsourced marketing, it's not my problem. Or I've outsourced this, it's not my problem, right? No, that's, that outside agency is responsible, they're accountable, but you're still responsible, right?
Totally.
And that's key to asking the right question.
Actually, that takes us into a whole other discussion around the difference between abdication and delegation, right? Delegation maintains
absolutely. and that's what I see a lot, especially with new clients, is they abdicate responsibility and they don't delegate responsibility. When you delegate responsibility, you keep ownership of that task, and that's really key. I learned that in the armed forces, right? Am I abdicating or am I delegating, right? And sometimes, another key question we have in the armed forces is, where do you lead from? You don't want to be too close to the fight because, you'll get the fog of war. You don't want to be too far away because you'll break down communication, right? So, and it's the same in business. Where do you lead from in business? Sometimes it's absolutely right to drill down on the marketing and hold that marketing agency to account. Sometimes you've got to really be close to the HR situation. But at other times, you need to step away from it, right? And that's another key skill that business owners don't get because nobody teaches you about it in school, right? Is where you lead from, right? I think that's another key. That's a whole other chat. I think that's a whole other
discussion for another day, right, Gareth? Look, that's absolutely brilliant. It's been great to see you. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining again. Look, folks, if you want to come and talk about some of that stuff, book yourself into a strategy review with us. You can do that from the website. Go to miltonkeynes.ashencoach.co.uk and book yourself a 30-minute review with Gareth and I. It's totally complimentary. You can also come and get a ton more content like this over on our social media groups. Go and search for the Better Business Workshop on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we'll put the links for those in the comments below this post in a second. Gareth, it's been absolutely brilliant to see you as always. Thank you so much for joining.
Thanks, Mark.
We'll see you again on Friday. Take care now. Thanks, folks. Cheerio.